We are outside here at GDC, and I've just sat down to play a game called Fragments of Him. It's a very particular narrative that you experience here. It's a game about loss. It's a game about someone dying, basically. But it's not about death in a way. It's more about life. Can you tell us, like a brief pitch, what kind of game is this?
Absolutely. I mean, Fragments of Him, it's very much a game about love, it's about memories, it's about hope. As you mentioned, it is partly about loss, but it's actually about overcoming loss. It's about coming to terms with these things. It's really about embracing the moments in your life that you have, the seconds that you have with people you care about, and how those memories can be something you cherish with you for all time, even if they're just a brief moment.
Now, obviously, if you have experienced loss, you're going to experience this game very differently than if you haven't. But how do you sort of, who do you imagine sort of playing this, and how do you sort of shape it to sort of fit everyone? Because loss is something that we deal with very differently as human beings.
Yeah, and this game is designed to be one particular story. It's almost like going to the theatre for the night. This is not supposed to be everybody's experience of loss. Other people are going to deal with loss in different ways. But a lot of the experiences and emotions in here are very real to me. The story is fiction, but there are a lot of things here coming from my own life, coming from my own experience of losing friends, losing loved ones, but also the end of a relationship, because that can be the same kind of feeling of grief. One of those weird things about loss is that I don't think you're just mourning the moment and that person who's gone. I think you're also mourning the futures that you're not going to have together anymore. And I think that's something I try to talk about a little bit in this game as well. So it's bringing out a lot of elements from my own life, putting it into this kind of fictional wrapping, which I think a lot of people are going to feel close to, especially people who have either been through experience of loss, or, you know, like I say, sometimes the end of a relationship is feeling that way too. But hopefully it's just a good experience that people can just go on that journey with.
I find that characters in video games kind of tend to be sort of one-dimensional at times, not really like the characters that are there in real life. And I got the feeling just playing 20 minutes or something that the characters here are really fleshed out. You really feel like real human beings. But that's almost a little bit uncanny, because that's sort of it's a little bit like a strange feeling, if you know what I mean. And can you tell us how you sort of work with creating these characters?
Sure. Well, some of that comes from just a bit of experience. So I've been working both as an indie developer and as a AAA developer for about 15 years now. At NHTV, I do teach about storytelling and writing of stories as well. So it's something that has been in my life for a very long time. So just really trying to bring out the best quality I possibly can in those characters, really thinking about in depth about them. There are pages and pages of backstory for all of these characters. Some of that comes out in their life, some of it comes out in the script, but a lot of it's just in little objects or things that you'd never know about. But at moments when I'm writing, I'll go, now what would Sarah say? What would Mary say? What drives Harry's moment at this time? What's in his life? What's in his history that would make him react at this moment? And then it's from there the decisions come. It's from there that the phrasing comes. So each of the different people have slightly different rhythms of speaking. They have slightly different ways of forming their grammar, which again reflects their characters. And it's something I put a lot of effort into. I've spent a very, very long time working on this script, and I was very fortunate to work with some brilliant actors and actresses to really bring this to life. The audio director and the whole audio team has been really, really brilliant. Pit Stop Productions have done a great job in making this game sound absolutely fantastic for us as well.
I think there's something to say about sort of leaving things unsaid as well, because that can sometimes be more important about telling something about a character than what is actually there in the dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I never wrote this script to be one of those kind of things like, oh my God, and then he died, and I was so sad I could not get over it. Oh, woe is me. This isn't the way that human beings are. Human beings, and a lot of the kind of the theme of the game is that there are small things that actually are far, far more tragic than kind of the big moments. Those big moments of, oh my God, they're gone. Yeah, that happens. But actually it's those tiny things afterwards, those tiny little moments, those almost unsaid things. I mean, there are elements in there that sometimes we've set them up so you click on them and actually there's no dialogue. It's just a thing. You kind of go, okay, this person is processing that themselves. and is letting the player process that inside themselves, letting the player bring their own emotions, bring their own imagination into this scene, and hopefully see some of their own life within those characters too.
Very interesting. And you mentioned that you've invested a lot of yourself in there as well. For instance, early in the game, there's a scene where Will meets Sarah, and you've taken from your own life, your own university experience, and added that into the game. That must sort of make it even more investment into the game, just rather than just making it. It's also about your own life.
Yeah, very much so, but I think it's almost funny that we have this conversation, because if you're talking to an author and the author's written a drama, you kind of go, oh wow, so you put some of your own life in there. But with an author, that seems almost like a silly question, doesn't it? But it's funny that we're at this stage in video games at the moment where we kind of go, wow, the video game's got stuff from your own life in it. Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird? Isn't that unique? Well, I think we're going to see a lot more in the future, people using their own stories, their own lives to enhance the games. I think it's a really positive thing. I mean, obviously we're doing a very narrative focused thing, but I can see AAA people kind of bringing in their own experiences and things as well. And of course for them it's going to be more about supporting the mechanics, supporting the gameplay, but it's about making that gameplay more meaningful. If you feel invested in that world, if you feel invested in those characters, the gameplay is going to be more engaging. So it's really about creating the best, most enjoyable experience. And for some things that's going to be kick-ass gameplay, shooting robots in the face and defeating the big enemy. That's awesome. And if you can feel more invested in that with story, more invested with those little moments taken from the life of the writer, from the team that's creating it, that's fantastic too. Here, we're just about telling a really good emotional story. We're using those for emotional engagement. But I think there's a lot of industries and a lot of sides of this industry that can benefit from these kind of things. And like I say, for some people, that's going to be driven by mechanics completely. That's really cool. We're just going for the story side ourselves.
What plans do you have with the game? It's sort of close to the finish line. When's it coming out?
So we're going to be releasing in April. We're going to be putting a trailer out very soon, which is going to give the exact date for people. April is going to be on PC, so Steam, and we're also going to be releasing on Xbox One at the same time. ID Xbox has been a fantastic team, really supporting us through this. Valve have been really excited to get it onto Steam as well. And later in the year we're coming to PlayStation 4 as well. Sony have been really excited about this as well. Can't wait to bring it to the PlayStation audience.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Cheers, nice to meet you. Thank you.